Welcome back everyone to another anime season first impressions where anime reviewers pick a bunch of random animes that look sort of interesting, yet 60% of which we won't actually finish watching. And here in this video, we will quickly do a rundown of which ones I actually enjoyed and which ones, well, I in general don't have high expectations for many of these, so I can't say I was let down by them. But a good sign for this season is I believe out of the 12 I will keep watching over half of them, from the all-so-brutal and cringy animation of Berserk to the oh-so-adorable Tsumugi. We have a decently above-average anime season. But nonetheless, let's take a look at my first impressions of anime season summer 2016 to help give you an idea of what you may like to watch. Let's start out with a few shows that I was looking forward to the most this season, and let's start out with Orange, a show seeming to be a simple romance and story about regret, but maybe being more than just that, where a girl is getting letters from her future self about different events that she went through while in high school, and maybe past that too. Yet how they are able to send these letters back in time is still unclear, and also how she is able to clearly remember even the smallest events. I forget things in the past week. She's remembered things 10 years in the past. Pretty impressive. But maybe she's just got great memory, or maybe it's a reason for this, I don't know. But otherwise, the show is very atmospheric and shows us a more grounded, yet somewhat whimsical sort of romance. Yet the theme of the show seems to be more focused on looking over someone and trying to protect them for the future, and so far, it is beautifully done. The characters are very grounded and don't act like the most generic over-the-top anime characters, but are still energetic and unique enough to be enjoyable. While we still haven't had a ton of screen time for most of them, they still seem to have a strong cast. And nonetheless, this seems to be a very tear-jerking and emotional sort of anime, with enough mystery and questions to make the show more than just a simple romance, and I will surely keep watching. This is another anime that seems to be focused on regret from the past, yet is more focused on learning from those mistakes made in the past, because we have a 27-year-old that is given a chance to go back to high school once again through an experiment that he is brought onto after it looks like his life is going nowhere. And with this experiment, he spends an entire year in high school, and with a somewhat interesting premise. The show, from what I thought was just going to be a somewhat slice of life comedy with maybe a little plot thrown in there, it's a little more than that. While it does have a comedy aspect to it, which does hit most of the time, it has its points that get a lot darker than I expected, and it looks at life experiences that many people go through throughout high school and for the MC outside of high school, from jealousy, romance, insecurity, and even death. The characters are also distinct enough to play off each other and very well, with very realistic drives, and while I felt the show lingered on one character a little too long, and then it seemed to neglect some other ones that could have gotten some more development for them, this would actually be because the show ends seeming to hint at a season 2 where they could focus on those characters in. Yes, the show is already completely out, which allowed for the experience to be a little different than weekly episode releases, so whether getting it all at once is something you like is obviously up to you, but it was a nice binge watch for me at least. I in general didn't have extremely high expectations for the show, but because Ufotable was working on this, their art and animation are a reason enough to give it a watch, and that is going for this show too. But the show technically has 3 episodes out, but one is a prologue, and so far not much has happened, and they haven't even completed what the summary for the show has said. So it's kind of hard to judge as much of now, yet it seems like it's building a pretty decent world where there are these beings that can't be seen by regular people called Seraphim, which I thought were evil beings at first, but I was wrong. But there are these strange phenomena happening around the world like giant storms, and the princess of the kingdom is searching out these Seraphim, who are supposedly a myth, to attempt to help with this. And other than seeing in the MC Sori helping her out and he being able to see these invisible beings, we don't know much else. Yet if you like the games, I'm pretty sure this is a show you would enjoy. This the same goes for the characters too. It's really hard to judge them, but they all seem to play off each other well and have a good chemistry, but none stand out as of now. Either way, I will get through these slow grinds so far and keep watching, because my goodness, these fight scenes are 10 out of 10. Whoop! Here's Hype Train of the season, and Crunchyroll's flagship anime that I can't get away from on other YouTubers' videos, Mob Psycho, and with 2 episodes, I can surely tell you that it is a manga adaptation just by its style and the fact that it's from one. It has some of the same sort of comedy based off the MC style reaction and his OP abilities with a little effort. I could honestly say this is Saitama as a teenage psychic, but with more realistic ambitions of finding love and wanting to live life to the fullest. But for the story, it is about Mob the MC, who is part of a sham exorcism business where he works with a man who plays like he is a psychic, even though he's not, and instead allows Mob to do all the work, and he is obviously using Mob for his own benefit, but acts as a mentor at times. And just for a note, not everyone has psychic powers, obviously, because I just said that guy didn't, but comedy-wise it hits for the most part, which, like I just said a minute ago, it uses the reactions and powers of Mob as some comedic elements, but also the insanely eccentric and fabulous character designs and some witty and funny scenes with the sham psychic. So as of now, it looks like it would be pretty good with some animation and art that is incredibly smooth, detailed, and unique. And also that OP is pretty good too. So I'm going to keep watching, but as of now, it's somewhat episodic, but I've only seen 2 episodes, and I've heard it gets a story later on, I believe. But otherwise, if you like the overtop comedy in One Punch Man, then I'd sure give it a try. Well, here's Berserk, everyone. The anime adaptation that most manga readers and viewers of the first series and movies have been waiting for, well, a long time. And, well, it's interesting. Let's first, of course, talk about the elephant in the room, or in this case, a CG horse. And that is the CG in audio, because, yes, it's horrible. It's really bad. PS2 bad. With girls with no nipples, I would guess that's for censorship, but still, that just looks kind of strange. And giant CG horses. And I think the worst part about it is the few glimpses we get at great 2D art. Yet when it does try to animate in that great 2D art, it's jumpy as hell. But the CG looks so bad, and the OP animation, which is 2D, is also horrible. Also, the audio, especially for the sword, sounds literally like a bunch of pans banging together. And it hurts my ears. Past that, yes, the aesthetics are bad. As for the story, it does feel a little rushed, but for the most part, it's still entertaining, and with Guts being a badass asshole, and doing a decent job with flashbacks from the story before, from the movies, but I do feel like it would be more enjoyable if you've seen the movies or the first series before, because it's gonna make a lot more sense right now. Nonetheless, the CG and sound I can see, and having already seen it, drive away many from watching the show. But if you like Berserk and can get past the aesthetics, I would give it a try. It's entertaining and brutal. One more thing, it has a lot of blood, nudity, and horse rape. So if you don't like some gore and nudity, then I would surely pass. Nonetheless, I'm gonna keep watching because I like Berserk, and either way, I'm entertained. So we have ReZero, ReLife, and now Rewrite, and I have to say this is probably the most underwhelming and strangely put together shows this season. Well, at least for the retitles. It starts out with our hour-long episode going with the MC at school and just living a regular life, talking to other kids in class and nothing really happening, but it soon moves to him being molested by a wrist-sucking ghost, and he seeks help from a witch about the wrist-sucking ghost, so he heads over to the school at night, and he ends up in some random world that he enters through a door and fights a monster. Oh, he also has some sort of power to run or move faster. That hasn't been explained yet, but in the next 2 episodes, he is back at school after that strange event, and he meets up with a witch who has a club that the MC then recruits random girls to join, and the characters just pop out of the woodworks. And pretty much through 3 episodes, we have almost no answers to anything about the witch, the wrist-sucking ghost, the magical doors he entered through, his powers, or anything that has happened, and is really kind of a clusterfuck of events. I assume things make more sense later, but personally I have no real interest or care to see what happens next. And as of now, it's a mess. The characters are also just bland. The MC was enjoyable, but as of the last few episodes, he's divulging into a random pervert, and the other girls so far are just cliche and 1 or 2 dimensional, and there are too many characters at this point to really get attached to any of them. So I think I might drop it for now and come back later if I hear things pick up, but I actually get bored at points watching it, so I'm not really sure if I should recommend this one or not, but I'm dropping it for now. Now this for me is the laid-back show of the season, yet it is still filled with a certain amount of emotion. One of the cutest girls of the season, but they smile and you just want to protect, and a character I think a lot of us can relate to. And then the best father since May's Hughes. The story follows a dad and the cutest little girl as we watch them live life after the loss of their mom, and the struggles that the dad has to learn to cope with in taking on being a single parent, in large part through food, and he tries to learn how to cook better since his wife was able to make these meals for their daughter that she loved and made her smile. And one night he takes her to a restaurant where they meet a girl who seems to run it, yet she doesn't actually know how to cook, and the owner, her mom, is never there, so together they take on the task of learning to cook together to protect that smile. And the show is so easy to watch, with touching and soothing music, and the relationship between the daughter and father being very realistic, seeing how he has to learn to understand her and the things she needs, and with how hard he tries to make her happy is just so touching to watch. This show had my favorite first episode of the season, giving some beautiful emotional moments and feeling at times, along with the music, like a sort of Ghibli film. I will surely keep watching, and if you like father-daughter relationships and also cooking, which was also enjoyable to watch them cook together, then I would surely give this show a try. Now this is looking like the mob or mafia-like anime I've been searching for after Gangsta let me down, falling into, well, running out of money, and also the shonen twist. And I've been having a craving for a good show that was a grounded gangster sort of anime with blood, guns, deceit, and a view of criminal underground in the sort of 1920s area-like setting. While the revenge premise isn't new, it is done well, and seen when the MC's parents were killed, and it was both brutal and gave me a reason to root for this guy for revenge. And the story so far seems to end with a twist on each episode, which can keep you on your toes. And the character-wise, the MC looking for revenge is all edgy, but he is an annoying, preachy little kid so far. It seems badass, but not unstoppable. As for the rest, his friend is so far just there to help out the MC, and just seems like a side character, and the relationship seems a little forced, but it's only been 2 episodes that I've seen, and the rest, other than Dawn, hasn't had much development either. But nonetheless, the show's premise and atmosphere and execution so far is very good, and I'm looking forward to the rest. Can't say his name, but it's a show about a guy who loves to draw waifus, and has a lot of the memes for this season's anime, because 2D girls are obviously better than 3D girls. So lovely. But for as the premise for the show, there is an art club, and the main girl's in love with painting apples, and with the main guy who hates 3D girls and only loves painting his 2D waifus. It lays for some funny banter back and forth between the two, since he is so oblivious to her liking him, and he also wouldn't care even if he did know. And it's a cute little romance, but could get old after a while, but could fall in, like I said, the old Sakamoto hole, with falling into the one comedy stick. While Sakamoto did have a little more to it, I hope this show does too. Nonetheless, it's a funny little slice of life, but nothing too special so far, so I might keep going, I'm not really sure. This show overall does not stand out to me much. I've only seen 2 episodes, and I wasn't going to watch it, but I saw Madhouse was behind it, so I said, hey, why not give it a try. But it follows a group of teens who are going to take an officer's test, who I assume become officers in the military. But their ship gets wrecked on the way there, and the MC magically just happens to save the princess of the empire that fallen off the ship that they were on. What are the chances? And they then must escape the island from there, but where the show will go soon, I assume, is to fight a war, since the empire they are from is in a war with a neighboring country. But the only thing I can really judge so far is the show seems decently fast-paced, and the characters overall aren't that interesting. But again, it's early on. I will say that the MC is a hot-headed kid that can get annoying after a while, and he's kind of a pompous asshole. And then there's basically Urza, who's there to shut him down whenever he gets out of line. And past that, nothing really stands out to me. Yet again, it's early on, so things will definitely get heated up later on. I just wonder whether the story will focus on the bigger picture of the war or the cast and the MC. And so far, it seems like the latter. And as for whether I'll keep watching, I might give it an episode or 2. It seems to be heavy on the military aspect. So if you enjoy animes like that, then I would surely give it a try. Alright, generic shonen animes get a really bad rap because shows like these are usually very basic, have a lot of fan service, a very simple to follow plot, and a bunch of over-the-top action, and yet, just because something is simple and predictable doesn't mean it can't be entertaining, and this is how I feel about Taboo Tattoo. Its premise is something that's done a ton. A generic MC gets a random OP power with a girl with big boobs that likes him, and then the MC joins some sort of organization to help fight the bad guys, and of course, there's an evil organization that is opposing them, and yet I am still entertained by it, sporting a very slick and high quality art and animation for the most part, which makes the action sequences extremely nice to watch, which is something you really need to make these kind of shows work. obviously, and I even got a few laughs at it when it seemed to be taking stabs at itself for being so generic. So while the story-wise it may not bring out the most philosophical or moralistic viewpoints and be groundbreaking in general, I still found it to be very entertaining, so I think I'll keep watching at least for a while, and you can give it an episode or two if you really want, and see if you're liking it. Truthfully, not really sure what I expected from this show. Was I expecting Kirko no basket? No, not really, but I was hoping for something better than this. Wow, that sounds really harsh. But it's an underdog story which is done poorly. Most events I feel were forced. It starts out with a clumsy kid who's never played a sport in his life, and all of a sudden he's helping win a soccer game in the span of an episode. That doesn't sound too bad, but yet how it got from A to B didn't make a lick of sense. A kid asks him randomly to help play a soccer game, never talking to this kid before and seeing how much of a klutz he is. Yet this superstar, a soccer player, invites him anyways to come play soccer to a game that he really wanted to win. But after 20 concussions and a whole lot of broken bones, through determination to these random people he's never met before, he helps them win. And all of a sudden the kid wants to play soccer now because he loved helping them so much and being part of a group. But if you wanted to be part of a group and help others, there are a lot of other clubs you could join, such as band and knitting, where you wouldn't destroy your body in the process. It's not like he was doing this because he loves soccer, he's doing it for the people. It's so unrealistic it hurts to watch, and the characters, in general, even the cool MC guy is just kind of there and doesn't do anything so far in the first 2 or 3 episodes other than trying to act cool. I can rant on this show for a decent amount of time, but I'm not going to keep watching. Also, my god, those cheeks, what? But maybe if you really, really love you some underdog story, I mean like starting from the little bottom, and love kids that have determination on an unbelievable and unrealistic level, then try it out. But I'm good. I'll pass. And that is it. Other than Days, I did not have any other show I said I would for sure drop yet. There's ones I said I'm going to put on delay, but I'm not going to drop right now. Yet there are a lot of other shows out there that I didn't watch, but what I did watch, I thoroughly enjoyed for the most part. Oh yeah, can't forget the best of the past 2 seasons in my opinion, and it seems to be getting better. ReZero. If you think that this is a regular old adventure anime, then you may be mistaken. This is one damn good show. It is brutal and does not hold back. But that is it. What animes are you going to watch this season? And what do you think overall of the season 2? But my name is the King Heeblet, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.